We're going back to school, and as far back as primary and the early years. That's a long time ago for some people. And talking to the relatively new head of primary. Now, here's the thing, because we're turning out, I guess school's out for the day around this time. Do I say Miss Clifford or Mrs. Clifford?
Miss Clifford.
Okay, because it's, when they used to learn the teacher's first name, they shouldn't be, you've got to keep a bit of distance. So far too familiar if they call you Amy. But Amy it is. Welcome along, and welcome to LES, I suppose. How long have you been there? Just this term?
Yeah, just this term. I started at the end of August, and it's been a busy term getting to know everybody, the children and the team there, but it's been great fun so far.
So where have you come from? You weren't already in the school somewhere? You've come from outside?
I have, yep. I'm originally from England. I've worked in Luton and in London. I started as a teacher over 20 years ago, and I've been a head teacher in London, in Camden, and also in Brazil for 8 years, which was a great experience. Really? So here I am now in Spain, getting to know this area. I absolutely love working in international communities. They're fantastic schools, welcoming children from all over the world with so many different languages. So they're really exciting places, and it's been great to join the Lady Elizabeth team.
So when you looked at LES there, I mean, you got a glimpse of what it was like, the facilities and the whole setup there. You thought, yeah, this is all right. This is all right for me, I think. Well,
it's a very special school. It's right up there on the Cumbre, up on the mountain there, and the views from the school and the light. It's such a special place for children to be learning. We've got so much space up there to explore, and children can be really active. The facilities are fantastic. So, yeah, it's a very special context and a very special place for children to be learning.
Now, the early years, I mean, we start at what, 2 years old? So that's a very different thing. It's the sort of play-based learning. You get them started. So anyone that's not quite sort of familiar with that approach, how does that work in practice? How do you implement it?
Well, you're right. The early years is a very special stage, and it's the part of life where the human brain develops more in the first 5 years than it does in the rest of our lives. So it's a prime time to really develop children's learning and their love of learning. So a play-based approach is exactly that. That's where children that's where children's work is, in play, and they don't really see it as a chore. They see it as something that's motivational and fun and exciting. So through a play-based provision, what we're doing is getting children to be really challenged, getting their brains to really function and to make all those kind of connections, and to be really secure and resilient in learning. A play-based learning sets children up to be independent, to problem solve, to collaborate with each other, and they can really sustain their thinking and their play for long periods of time. So, in other settings that might be more formal for early years, young children find it very difficult to kind of concentrate on anything that they're not interested in. So play is obviously their passion. It's their first line of work and interest. So exploiting that and allowing them to really develop their learning through play is central to our approach at Lady Elizabeth School. So
what would a day look like typically? Because you wouldn't just sort of put them in the room and say, right, there's your toys, get on with it. It's structured in some way, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot more kind of. There's a lot of theory behind the learning of play. So there's a lot of work that goes in from the teachers in terms of planning for an environment that stimulates children's creativity and curiosity. But a day at school for children is fun, because it is that kind of play-based approach. They'll come in the mornings. Our gates open at 8:30, and children are welcomed in. We have a very open door policy where mums and dads and grandparents can come and settle their children, give us messages about the night before, if they've had a good night, a bad night, if they've had a row with their brother or sister on the way to school. All that sort of thing is really important to set them up for a good day. So communication is really important with our parents. And then children come in and they have full days at school, where we have a mixture of whole class teaching, which is in short spurts of 5 to 10 minutes, where children share stories, sing songs, look at number, and then they have big periods of what we call active learning, open learning, where children explore the environment. So they play, and our teachers play alongside them. They guide them in their play. They comment and talk to them about what they're doing. So we're very involved and very active in children's play across the setting. So children are having fun, from the moment they come into school until the moment they go. They're very, very busy and very, very happy. We also have specialist teachers for music, and we have Spanish teachers because we want to make sure that children are learning English but also Spanish. So we have a very bilingual approach in the early years. Which is fantastic, along with having lots of different languages that the children come in from home speaking.
Yes, and at that age, they pick it up in no time. It's, if they're surrounded by it from even at 2-3 years old, it's extraordinary. It's very different from trying to learn as an adult.
It's incredible, yeah. Their brains are like sponges to sounds and language, so it's the prime time to really be developing language and languages, yeah. Yeah,
well, I think because we had the deputy head, Chris Lowen, not that long ago, talking about the whole school in general. I said, I think some of the early years, don't they have a nap in the afternoon?
Some of them do, yeah.
If the parents want it, if they don't, unless they want them tiring out so that they can put them to bed early.
Absolutely, but I think it's really important that children, especially when they're in the 2-year-old provision and in the nursery too, to have the option of having a resting time, and we do have lots of sleepers. And actually it helps them to sleep at night as well if they have a little rest in the middle of the day.
Oh, it does? Okay.
At that age, yeah, and really helps with their memory and really sets them up for a really good afternoon. So, yeah, we have a really lovely, very relaxing resting room in our school.
Excellent. And I suppose one advantage of being here as well is making use of the outdoor space.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the huge advantages of our school. All of our early years and Key Stage 1, our early childhood classrooms, they have doors that spill out onto the outside. So we have children exploring both the inside learning environments and the outside. And we use the outside as a classroom. So children are obviously growing rapidly at this age and stage, and they need to move and they need to run and they need to be active and skip. And we've got so much space for the children to be able to do that. We're really, really lucky. And, during the day, our children choose to go inside, but they can also choose to learn outside. So wherever they prefer to be, they can learn in those spaces.
I guess it's not imperative that you do it from such an early age, but even from sort of 2-3 years old, are you able to spot the ones that have a bit of something about them, personality-wise? You think, yeah, they'll be all right in future life.
Yeah, I think all children are unique. They're all individual and they all have their strengths and their areas that they're kind of challenging themselves to work on. And yeah, I think we see really strong personalities coming through from 2-year-old up, and it's lovely to be able to really get to understand each individual and to nurture them and to work with their families to really make sure they're confident and happy and enjoying school to their full potential.
Were you teaching primary before?
Yes.
You were from where you've come in from? Yeah,
and originally my passion is early childhood education. I've started as an infant school teacher, and I've always worked in lots of early childhood settings. So yeah, I'm very passionate about children's development, and I think the early years is a fantastic opportunity for children. I mean, the early years is it makes such a difference in children's lives if it's a good quality early years with highly qualified staff and really passionate people that really care about it. And I think that's the environment we've got at Lady Elizabeth.
Sure. Does one train specifically to be a junior primary school teacher, or do you do the basic and then you branch off like a specialist would, in medicine or something? Your
teacher training is either general primary or early childhood. So you have, particularly as we're talking about the early childhood section of the school today, there is a distinct age and stage. It's a lot to do with child development, understanding children's development across all areas. So it is a very distinct stage. So my training, along with my colleagues back in Lady Elizabeth, is around early childhood education in that part of the school.
Yeah, I mean, we had some questions set out, which I haven't gone through one after the other because it doesn't work like that. But it is an interesting point about the emotional and sort of social growth as well.
Well, I think for many children, it's their first step outside of their family environment, the early years, coming into a setting at 2. So going back to the point about trust, it's really important that our families trust our staff and our team, but also that our children get to know them and really understand that they can trust their teachers and that they can feel the positive relationships with their teachers. So we've really focused at the beginning of the year of getting to know each other as a community, making sure the children develop a real sense of belonging to their new school, that they feel settled, that they feel safe. And then when those foundations are in place, things flourish and children are very, very happy. So we do work a lot on children's social and emotional development. It's their children's first experience in a social world. So we make sure that children are managing conflicts with each other positively, making friends, sharing, making sure that they're understanding their own personal space. So it's lots of things that we're focusing on to just make sure everyone's feeling safe, everyone's feeling happy, but connected as a group in the school. And after the first half term, we're just past our half-term holiday. Mm-hmm. You can already see that the children are very, very settled and very happy in their new school.
Because as we say, there's a lot going on, isn't there? I mean, you said you were at a primary school in London. Is it true that there's a lot more for them to deal with these days?
Yeah, I think schools are very much more in tune to the need to work with children's social and emotional development. And I think the early years in terms of education has always been in tune to that, because young children are very impulsive and they've not yet learned to manage their relationships. But I think schools in general are very much looking at children's social and emotional learning. And for me, that's crucial. And I think for our school too, it's something that if you get that right, if you've got happy children that are safe, you've got a really successful school, and you've got, adults that go into or children that leave school becoming kind and compassionate adults. So, it's the most important thing in education.
And as you've said, a big part of what you do as well is getting the parents involved, so they're allowed to come in and, help the kids settle in. But that's not the end of it, is it? There's regular sort of participation with them.
It's huge, I think, particularly in a primary school, but most importantly in an early childhood education. If children's families are mirrored back into the curriculum, if children can feel that their languages, their family traditions, things that they celebrate at home are also celebrated in school, it makes them feel secure, it makes them feel confident, and it gives them a real kind of springboard in which to learn. So we involve parents as much as we can in children's learning. We welcome them into school as much as possible. We might invite them on a school trip with us. Yeah. We'll get them to come in and tell stories to the children, sing songs with the children. We open our doors so that parents can come and see what the children are learning. So it's a very vibrant place that reflects the families and the community that we have at Lady Elizabeth. Yeah,
there is a lot more contact, isn't there, with parents than there probably used to be, with even just with an app that you're a part of, or in an email group, so that you're alerted to things that are going on in the school much more than maybe you used to be. The only time was getting a phone call because they'd fallen over or something, or got in a fight.
When you're in trouble. Yeah, right. Definitely not about that. We have an app actually that we use across the early years called Tapestry, and we document children's learning in school for that, so parents can see what the children are doing. Really helpful for working parents who maybe don't come into the school every day, or for children that go off on the bus. So we have Tapestry, and it's also an app where parents can upload things that happen at home. So it might be, a child has learnt to ride their bike without stablers for the first time, or has tied their own shoelace, or, it can be anything. And we share that learning, because learning obviously happens everywhere, not just at school.
Sure. And of course, all that gets stored to, you can look back on it in years to come.
Yeah, you can.
In these various stages of their development, right. Exactly. So tomorrow is the day to go and have a look and find out exactly what goes on there for yourself as a parent, or potential, parent of a potential student. Yeah, absolutely. We've got an open day tomorrow, but we've also got lots of other events planned. So I would encourage everybody to look on our webpage, because we have, over the next year, we have some workshops that we're inviting members of our community in. So just come and visit. We're going to have some rhyme and song workshops, some story workshops, some art workshops, so different focus each time. And we're also going to have another open day in January. So we're really keen to open our doors up to the community and to get everybody in to just see what we do. So whether or not you're thinking about your child coming to LES or not, just come and meet other parents, meet other young children, and there'll be really hands-on workshops for our community to enjoy. Sure, because this is obviously a regular school day tomorrow, so you're seeing exactly what goes on. It's not something that's been set up especially, although there will be, someone taking you around. There will be. But they are the actual classes that go on at the time. Absolutely. It's the best way to see the school. It's living and breathing, so come and have a look at it during the school day. And we've also got some pupil ambassadors, some student ambassadors, who are very keen to take our guests around, and, they're from the rest of the older years in the primary school, and they're incredibly proud to show their school off and tell our visitors all about it. So, yeah. What we also mention is, for these sort of things, that if someone's listening from further afield, there's plenty of ways to take a virtual tour or get in touch if you're interested, if you are looking to relocate perhaps. Absolutely. Check out our web pages, contact the school. We can have some virtual meetings. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask us, we're always available. We have a very kind of brilliant admissions team who will always kind of point you in the right direction and get you to speak to teachers and the head of early years, Petra, or myself. So, please come and talk to us and ask any questions that you need, and come and visit if you're in the local area.